with Vegas being Vegas, Nico was saying that you didn't leave too much of that behind. You still reviewed, like, how did you break it down, or how are you going to be able to, or what are you taking from that game to help you in the future with MLS play?
Well, the significance of a final, Jada, is certainly there. But it's normal routine for us to take our last game, review what we did well and what we could improve on, and so that's normal. What I would say is the interesting thing about the significance of it being a final was something that actually came from the players themselves, because I wasn't going to touch upon, Columbus the last time we were in a final and our slow start. But some of the players internally were talking about that before the game. Hey, remember the last time, we're going to start strong. And I think their message resonated amongst themselves because we came out and we played very well against a very talented team. And so sometimes when that message comes from within, it's more powerful. And so today, thinking about that, it was, do we have to push past that final? Because now it's just league play. But our decision as a staff was no. If the players are okay with learning, even watching some of the film was not easy because of the emotional drain of being this close from winning that game. A couple of key moments could have changed the game. And it was hard for them to watch. But they're not afraid of that because they understand that's how they learn. Because that's how you learn as an individual. You can't be afraid to address problems or issues or things that come up. So I'm very proud of the team for having that type of mentality to push us through. It's almost like you're saying, yeah, we've experienced, something that, other teams haven't this year. We've lost a big game. And now it's the time to push through that and use that experience to be better so that when the playoffs roll around, maybe we've learned a couple things from the Lyon game.
So taking that forward then, obviously we'll see what happens on Sunday, but, treating this final a little bit differently then, if you guys come out hot, do you then learn something about, how you then take losses going forward?
Well, I think the team has been resilient in many ways, Jackson. I think every loss hits them differently. Certainly in a final, it hits them a little bit differently. Look, there's still things to prove because San Jose's, Sporting KC is not easy. San Jose is not an easy game. We've got a bunch of road games in our last set of games. We've got some fixture congestion. We've got an added game, Vancouver, in where guys were supposed to get a little bit of a mental break, or the internationals obviously are playing. So, the story's still to be written. But our expectation is that that group is always going to work hard. You saw the fact that they never quit. Down 3-1, a lot of teams would have said, okay, we gave it our best shot. Our team didn't quit. They actually produced the goal by the guy here and Will, and Raul almost with the storybook ending. They don't quit. So whether we take another couple losses towards the end of the year, okay, fine, this team doesn't quit. And that's the thing I can guarantee.
You referenced a couple moments there. How much do you personally, how much do you see you guys playing that what-if game at all?
Well, we as coaches are. Because we don't get to burn the adrenaline or, the disappointment away at practice or against our next opponent. I looked at that game, both obviously the panoramic feed, but then also some of the TV highlights as well. That was, it was a very good Lyon team. Very good possession-based team, skillful players. But we had them. We had them in there.
Is that kind of game one of the ones where Gonzo on the sideline would have helped?
No. Gonzo is helping his new team. Freddie's helping our team now.
You with that matchup, though, also, or actually, Nuho, what is he? Was he unavailable health-wise for
No.
this match?
No.
It was a decision.
It's just a decision.
So going forward, or SKC could be possible, or
Every player that's not on the injury list will be available for these next two games, Jada. because we're going to need everybody.
And also with that, it seems like from watching it, you have a mantra if you know you're going to play the best available, and it does seem steep that way. But in their sense, there was some view or some things that I've read that were like you didn't go all in on Real as far as your lineup in order to try and play or win the Lyon game. Is that true?
That was only the planned substitution between Alex and Kellen. I mean, everything else. I mean, look, the young kids are going to play some games. The rotation of the squad, Jada. There's many different factors into determining who starts. I mean, we go in all in for every game, regardless of the kids I put on or the senior players I put on. They have it ingrained that it's, you know, every game is like a final.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
What's going to be key against SKC?
Well, just being able to bounce back emotionally from a challenging loss. And then, you know, tactically matching up. They play 4-3-3, very specific. Peter's been playing that formation for the last God knows how many years, and see how we line up. You know, we'll look back on the game they played here where they beat us 3-1. We'll look at that, see what we can do to improve, tweak, and we'll go from there. Well, we took the entire group just because it's their team. And why don't we reward? Well, we always do. I won't phrase it in the form of a question. We always reward the players in big games like this. That's been kind of a tradition for our club. Everybody goes. Whether you're injured, not injured, reserve, starter, we all go because it's their team.
It sounds like you didn't need to message the importance of trying now to get to first place in the West, and that the players have kind of taken on that conversation between each other. Is that the right read of what you're, as far as the
Well, Jada, I haven't asked every player, but I'm pretty sure that all of our players look at the standings. Now, how much do they discuss it internally, externally? That I can't tell you. That, to me, the message this morning was, if this group of players here, sitting in front of me, plays up to their potential in games, we will win far more games than we lose. That's the message. Because we have a good team.
You talked about how the team played well in the game, and you had and so with that in mind, when you're looking back at the film and you see that there's a couple of individual issues, how much do you kind of go over that with the team? You said it wasn't kind of easy for them to watch.
Well, which individual issues are you talking about?
Well, just the goals that were conceded, the nature of the goals.
Okay, but you and I could sit and watch the film together, and I could tell you that each one of those goals was a team failure at different parts in the buildup of that goal, that particular goal. You can't just lay it all on Javi. You can't just lay it all on Shane. You can't just lay it all on, you know, Jimmy Madrando or Shane covering because Javi stepped forward or there was a give and go on that first goal in midfield a guy should have done better at. Alex, maybe he slides the block across. I mean, I'll go over the film with you. Those are team goals.
What about the one with Steph? He made the initial block and looked like maybe he played it for Javi. Like, what kind of went, or should he have been able to corral the ball and prevent the rebound?
Those are. I'm not going to micromanage decisions of the players on the field. We were behind. Steph wanted to get the ball in quickly. Maybe Javi wasn't ready yet. Maybe we could have taken our time. Or maybe Javi gets the ball and he plays Brad and we're out and we're down the field. I mean, those are all decisions that players have to make constantly in our sport.
Looking at Wednesday, we talked about how to turn the disappointment into motivation. How important are the veteran leaders, Christian, Steph, Freddie, those type of guys, in those internal inside locker room conversations with just those players?
They're vital. I I mean, look, we've got a pretty experienced team here. I mean, we have some young players, but they've been listening. I'm not concerned about that.